In a tense courtroom, where the weight of every breath seemed to echo, a strict judge sat on the brink of delivering his verdict. The air was heavy, and silence wrapped around the room like an unyielding cloak, until, out of nowhere, a soft and innocent voice pierced through the stillness. "I'm hungry." The entire courtroom froze as if time itself had come to a halt. All eyes turned to a little girl, her small words rippling through the silence like the first raindrop in a storm. Her mother's face flushed red with embarrassment, mortified by the sudden outburst. But what the judge did next, it left everyone utterly stunned and transformed the lives of those involved forever. Before we unravel the story of this unforgettable moment, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Leave a comment below. And if stories like this touch your heart, be sure to subscribe for more emotionally gripping narratives. Now, let's dive into the story of Samantha Davis and her 6-year-old daughter, Olivia. An ordinary morning, or so it seemed, Samantha Davis woke up before the sun painted the sky with its soft golden hues. It was just another early morning in her modest Brooklyn apartment, which she shared with her daughter, Olivia. The faint hum of the city outside never stopped, not even for a heartbeat. Yet, in those still hours, Brooklyn felt quiet compared to the noise that usually filled Samantha's mind. She hardly ever slept. Between work, bills, and raising Olivia, rest was a luxury she couldn't afford. But today wasn't like every other morning. Today, Samantha wouldn't be heading to the downtown bakery, where she worked long hours kneading dough and decorating cakes. Instead, she was headed to court. The issue? A $200 parking ticket. It wasn't just about the money, though it might as well have been a mountain for someone barely making ends meet. The fine weighed heavily on her shoulders because of how it happened. Last week, she'd parked illegally for just a few minutes to rush into a pharmacy for Olivia's fever medication. A necessary choice, but now, it felt like her life was unraveling over it. Samantha glanced at her daughter, who was still fast asleep, her small hands clutching a well-loved stuffed bunny. A wave of guilt crashed over her like a relentless tide. "Come on, Liv," she whispered softly, brushing aside her daughter's curls. "We have to go." Facing the unknown. The Brooklyn courthouse was as intimidating as Samantha had imagined. Its ceilings stretched high, almost scraping the heavens, and its cold gray walls seemed to close in on her. Guards stood rigid, their stern expressions unmoving, like they were carved from stone. Samantha gripped Olivia's hand tightly as they walked through the imposing space, feeling smaller with every step. The whispers began almost immediately. People were talking about Judge Thomas Alden. He was a man with a reputation, Brooklyn's toughest judge, known for his unwavering commitment to the law. The very thought of pleading her case before him made Samantha's stomach churn. How could she possibly convince someone so unyielding to let go of the fine? She rehearsed her words in her head, over and over. "Your Honor, I'm a single mother. It wasn't an emergency. I was just trying to get medicine for my daughter," but the fear inside her wouldn't let go. Then, her name echoed through the courtroom. Case number 118, Samantha Davis. Her heart skipped a beat. Taking a deep breath, she whispered to Olivia, "Come on, Liv." Together, they walked forward. The moment that changed everything. Judge Alden's gaze was as cold and sharp as the winter winds outside. Sitting behind his towering desk, he flipped through Samantha's paperwork with precision, each page turned a reminder of the power he held. "You parked illegally in a designated wheelchair space," he said, his gravelly voice cutting through the air. "Do you deny this, Ms. Davis?" Samantha's knees felt weak, her hand clutching Olivia's for strength. She shook her head, her voice barely audible. "No, Your Honor, I—" Before she could finish, a tiny, clear voice rang out. "Can we get pancakes, please?" Time seemed to freeze. The innocent request hung in the air, the courtroom falling into stunned silence. Every gaze shifted to Olivia, whose wide, trusting eyes met the judge's without hesitation. Gasps filled the room, followed by a ripple of murmurs. Samantha's face burned with embarrassment, her heart racing. Judge Alden's pen stopped midair. Slowly, his steely eyes lifted from the papers, narrowing as he studied the little girl. For a moment, the courtroom saw something they never expected. Curiosity. "Did you just say pancakes?" he asked, his deep voice softening ever so slightly. Olivia nodded eagerly. "Yeah. Pancakes with syrup, please." A chuckle escaped from the crowd, breaking the tension. Even Judge Alden, to everyone's astonishment, seemed caught off guard. His lips twitched, as if suppressing a smile. "Well, young lady," he said, his tone lighter, "I don't think anyone's ever asked for pancakes in my courtroom before." Without missing a beat, Olivia tilted her head thoughtfully. "Maybe you should have some too. They make you happy." The courtroom erupted in laughter, and for the first time in years, perhaps ever, Judge Alden smiled. A judge's decision. Clearing his throat, the judge stood and announced, "Court is adjourned for a brief recess." The courtroom buzzed with whispers, disbelief spreading like wildfire. Minutes later, he returned, his demeanor noticeably changed. "Ms. Davis," he began, "I've reviewed your case. I'm dismissing the $200 fine." The room gasped. Samantha's hands trembled as tears blurred her vision. "But that's not all," Judge Alden continued. "I'm providing you with resources for free childcare, job training, and an online degree program at no cost." Applause erupted, and Olivia grinned up at her mother. "See, Mommy? Pancakes do make people happy."